When I think of my nostalgia for Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, I remember a really short experience utilizing a beat-em-up style combat. It effectively ended as quickly as it began, but I still found myself being pleasantly surprised by moments in the story. And after rewatching my playthrough, I've decided to place it ahead of Persona 5. Here's why. While playing through the game, there was one aspect that really stood out above the rest, and that was the game making me feel powerful. From the start of the game, I immediately remarked how the abilities and actions I was performing were strong. I could fling stormtroopers off ledges, envelop enemies in force lightning, and move large objects with ease. I enjoyed the game allowing me to live up to the fantasy of being Starkiller, and I think it was very successful at that. In my thoughts video for the playthrough, I indicated that it felt like a mindless beat-em-up game in the vein of the older God of War games, but so much cooler. It was definitely one of the highlights of the playthrough and something that stuck with me the entire time. I did feel that the game, and in turn the story, was extremely short. Additionally, while the ending was unexpected and cool, the final fight with Darth Vader definitely soured an otherwise enjoyable experience. Overall, I thought the game was okay, but felt the game deserved props for its successes. For the rewatch, I felt very similar to my past self in several areas. The game does a nice job of making you feel very powerful from the start, and it escalates the degree of power quite quickly. In some areas, you're snatching TIE fighters out of the sky, and in others, you're moving asteroids and large command ships in space in mere seconds. This did in turn create some inconsistencies though. In a sequence where Starkiller needs to move debris and ships from a wreckage of a Star Destroyer, he does so in mere seconds without much effort or struggle. He will then proceed to spend double or more time trying to open a door or bend a bulkhead open so that he can move through it. In some sequences, he would use the Force to deal damage to enemy ships, and in others, he would resort to throwing his lightsaber or reflecting rockets. The game's linearity also didn't seem all too enjoyable after a while. It was very one-dimensional with how it presented problems, and the solution to the vast majority of them was to fight waves of enemies until the door unlocks. There were a couple of puzzles sprinkled in, but overall, I felt like the game lacked variety. It has approximately 5 enemy types, and outside of the set-piece bosses, each challenge was relatively the same. I would lastly echo my past self's thoughts on the Darth Vader fight. It was very frustrating to watch one of the most iconic villains jump from platform to platform and otherwise avoid Starkiller in many instances. The added addition of multiple enemies spawning throughout the fight just made it that much worse, where it ultimately didn't feel like it lived up to the fantasy of fighting Darth Vader. Based on memory, I ranked Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 at 104 out of 117, and it's tough to say where it should go. The game was very short, which I believe helped it out in many areas. The combat would certainly lose its luster with an extended game, and the lack of variety was already getting old in the 4-ish hours of gameplay. That said, I think the game accomplishes what it sets out to do and offers a short but complete experience. So I think I'm going to put Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 ahead of Persona 5. In this instance, Persona 5 overstayed its welcome and Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 cuts and runs before that could happen. It may not necessarily be the better game, but it delivered a better experience for me, and that's a valuable edge to have in this matchup.